I always had like realistic goals of, you know, what people want to do. Some people like enter their first show, they're like, I want to win everything, I want to be a pro. It's like, pump the brakes, kid. So I ended up winning the novice and the novice overall, and I got second behind Big Ann, coincidentally again. And I didn't even know that I was top 5 because I didn't understand call-outs then. I didn't understand that at all. And so when they pulled me out and they're like, you made top 5, I was like, yes, I can't believe it. I was so happy. And we get out there, and this is the novice class, and they're like 5th place so-and-so, 4th place so-and-so. I'm getting, oh my God, I can't believe this is amazing. 3rd place, 2nd place, 1st place. I'm like, oh my gosh, I couldn't believe it. I was like ecstatic, had no idea. You know, in today's recorded, sometimes you get an idea from your friends, like, oh, you're in the center, you're in the top 5, you're in the top 5 call out, so you could probably float around 2nd or 3rd, but then I knew nothing. So it was completely unexpected. So I grabbed my trophy and I ran off stage and I'm running away to go see my parents, and they're actually looking for me for the overall. So they found me and like, you know, you got to go back out again. I'm like, wait, I just went. They're like, no, for the overall. And I'm like, what's that? And they pulled me out for the overall, and I ended up winning the novice overall, and that was just excited. And then came out back out for the open, and then ended up getting second. And it was just it was the most memorable day in my life at bodybuilding at that point. And the week after, I placed second at the East Coast Cup Classics, the same one I did in 2005. 2007, I did Gold's Gym Classics again, got 3rd, and then I did Eastern USA's, and I got 16th. So at this point, I was like 8 pounds heavier, with not the greatest condition, and I was at a standstill. I didn't know where I should go, what I should do, what I did wrong. I remember like kind of over dehydrated and flattening out. I remember that. But I didn't want to make any more mistakes, and a lot of people were like, well, let's try it again myself next year. I'm like, no way. I don't want to hire somebody that already has made 15 years of mistakes so he can teach me, so I don't have to make 15 years of mistakes. And I remember Fakri Mubarak being one of the judges, and I pulled him aside when he was in line, and I'm like, can I have some feedback? And he didn't basically have anything really to say at that point. He didn't remember me. But we ended up, long story short, hiring him for Atlantic States, which is 6 months later, and he taught me a lot more about food. Man, I was not eating enough food, that's for sure. And the amount of food he had me eating was insane. And I went from a normal off-season weight of about 224 to 245 in 3 months after the Eastern USA's, which is November. And I ended up winning the heavyweight class open in the Atlantic States in 2008, in the heavyweight class, weighing 204, so probably about almost 10 pounds heavier with dice condition. So that was the most gains I ever made in a short period of time, and I accompanied that to the new introduction of food, still being young, being able to train so heavy. I remember being so much stronger when I was that size and being that young. And then I did 2009 Junior Nationals, and not the best condition, came in around 222, should have been probably like 214 or maybe even 210, and I placed 9th. And at that point, I was kind of like still doing school and everything, and school was kind of unraveling. So I graduated and I had to do an internship, so I kind of put bodybuilding and the training on hold. You know, a lot of people chase bodybuilding as it's going to be this epic thing that's going to carry the pace for the entire life. And I know that's not the case. I mean, I'm not going to be any crazy star bodybuilder, but I love doing it. I love challenging myself, I love pushing myself. So I stopped bodybuilding, and I was completely okay with it. I didn't really train much, do the basics training, still ate regimentedly, and finished my internship in Long Island, 1,300-hour dietetic internship to become a registered dietitian, and finished. Came back here, moved back home. December 2012, I actually did a little hiatus. I did 6 months of strongman training, did a strongman meet, and that was fun. I permanently destroyed my knee from that. That's great. But it was a lot of fun. I just don't have the genetics to do that kind of thing. And then I decided, I didn't even train like a bodybuilder at all. I had so much tendonitis issues and injuries from strongman that 13 weeks out from Jay Cutler Classic, the strongman was 2011. The first 2012 Jay Cutler, 13 weeks out, I decided, I'm like, you know what, I'm going to jump in the show. and just compete for fun. No expectations. I don't even care what weight class I enter. I don't care about any of that. I'm just going to compete for fun. And during that time I was finishing up my master's and I was doing my thesis in protein supplementation and timing. And I had, covered BCAA's intake and when and where and how much and what is the research support as far as beneficial factors. And I ended up competing and I did well. I ended up winning, and like I said, I did my master's at the time. I was moving, so bodybuilding was completely third. Life was everything else more important, and it ended up working out way better. It's almost like the distraction of everything else going on in life made me take my mind off the pedal, and I got more traction. And I turned around and with, I wouldn't say as much effort, but as much mental effort, able to achieve pretty decent condition and good shape after taking the hiatus, not training. And I won the NPC Vermont heavyweight open overall and the Jay Cutler. And then I'm like, oh wow, this is cool. Maybe I'll just do a national show for fun. And at that point, I wasn't sure if I was going to do it or not. So I just kind of like went back to my normal life, eating, training, and I'm like, I think I might do USA's. And I was like, all right. And Thackeray's like, okay, well, I'll help you with USA's. So USA's prep started in March, and I think it was about April where I actually partially tore my pec. I had a little bit of bruising, a little swollenness. Couldn't put my hands together for a couple weeks. And it was like the real first time I had an injury that I really thought possibly that this would be it. This would be over and I'd have to find a new hobby or a new interest. But me being a stubborn self, I went right back to the gym and started rehabbing it immediately, probably even in the next day. I was doing full range of motion 2 or 3 times a day, every day. And then slowly started doing single arm dumbbell presses with 2 pounds. Yep, 2 pounds. And then slowly started getting better and better and better and better and better. So the plan from USA's turned to doing North Americans. And I originally planned to do North Americans as a heavyweight. And I'm just going to touch on a lot of the stuff, and I'll come back later to get more detail on some of the good stories among that prep. And I was going to be heavyweight, and then I realized around 4 weeks out, I was like 224, and I'm like, I don't want to be in the middle of the heavyweight class in a national show. I think that's a mistake in my opinion. So I decided to kind of hit the grind and try to make light heavyweight, which I'll get another story another time. So I ended up making light heavyweight in North Americans, and ended up placing 5th. And actually, it was actually the first time ever that I actually believed that possibly I had a chance at turning pro. Because I always believed that genetically, I don't think that I was really able to do it. I thought I was a decent bodybuilder, but I never thought I could actually become it until that show. And it was actually that show where I really wasn't even going to plan to do nationals after that. And Muscular Development contacted Evan, and Evan called me and he goes, they want to talk to you, for a little interview after. And they thought I should have placed much higher, and I was completely happy with my placing. And everyone I was with were like, aren't you mad that you got 5th? You got like 4th call out, and then they ended up pulling some of the people back out again, and they missed you. I'm like, no, my goal was to get top 5, and I was completely happy with it. And my wife was like, we need to do nationals. And I'm like, what? Coming from her at the time, I was like, I don't know why she's pushing me to do that. At that point, it's 12 more weeks of dieting. We had a cruise booked at 8 weeks out. So we were going to go on a cruise 8 weeks out from nationals, the biggest show of my life, and which we did. So I ended up doing the prep for there, and then ended up doing nationals. Went on a cruise in the middle of my prep. Still pulled it off, and ended up winning light heavyweight class there, which turned me IFBB Pro today. But so that's kind of like my history so far. And amongst the years of going along, I started to help more people with prep. Started to get more into nutrition, doing more lectures, helping particular fitness places with nutrition, and doing like a nutrition package for like a 66-day weight loss challenge, and run that with the trainer there. And been doing some lectures at some colleges, and I love educating, and educating is kind of like my thing now. So I definitely don't keep secrets from people or try to keep the secret of my success so far in bodybuilding, what I've done out from everybody. I really like to tell everybody and help people achieve even more than what I have. A lot of the people come to me, some of my clients have become good friends of mine. that I just skip all those mistakes that I made and do this, you know, and the ones that listen I've done very well. So, you know, I plan to do many more videos and some of the things I've learned through school and through bodybuilding together, you know, touching on a lot of branched chain amino acids and, you know, timing and things like that, some of the things I run myself, but I'll be making many more videos.